Alright everyone, welcome back to some more of a Requiem for Innocence. I want to thank you all for the love and support you guys continue to show this series. It really does mean a lot, so thank you very much. We are currently at a point where things are going to start declining soon, and yeah, it's heavy on the heart, guys. It really sucks. We all expected coming. We all saw it. We knew it was going to happen, and still, it just hurts to see it. And you guys know what I'm talking about once you get through. And so I'm just going to make this intro short. And with that said, I hope you all continue to enjoy watching. Let's keep it going. Alright guys, and we are back. It feels like I only just started yesterday, yet I also like I've been doing this forever. You are looking somewhat worse for wear, my lord. Do I? Who am I kidding? You're right. On the other hand, you don't look like you've even lost an hour's sleep this entire year. It goes to show how inexperienced I really am. While it is true that I have been in this position for many years, I also do not bear nearly as much responsibility as you. I merely stand in the background and offer you small pieces of advice. All the while, you face the crowds directly, negotiate with counts, make dozens of difficult decisions. If there's one thing I have learned in all my years, it is that I could never begin to imagine the weight a ruler must carry. Never mind one who was never raised to take the throne and thrust themselves into the labyrinth of politics and high society. It would be a greater surprise if the trials had not taken their toll. That reminds me, Barnea was a lord for a full decade before we took him out, wasn't he? And as I recall, he wasn't much of a despot early on. If just 1 year has taken this much out of me, how much longer before I'm no longer able to act like a responsible, reasonable human being? I think it's about the same though. Responsible, reasonable. No, don't think like that, Jacopo. Actually, forget it. What matters is that we seem to be doing a good job minimizing discontent. Indeed, you have successfully made it through the first year. The city is decidedly more presentable than it was when you took the throne. There are precious few who could replicate your accomplishments in such a short time, my lord. You would do well to take pride in your work. Pushing to do everything so quickly has taken its toll. The people are worn thin, slaves are dying by the droves. I still have a ways to go before there's anything I can be proud of. Slaves are the tools of progress, my lord. Tools do not last forever and must be replaced regularly. And you can't build a house with your bare hands, I get it. You learn quickly. Not even a year ago, I would have been up in arms about the number of slaves dying. But now, they're just numbers to me. Apparently, my worldview has changed quite a bit. It is about time we start considering our next step. Meaning your efforts thus far have merely been toward repairing the damage caused by your predecessor. You make it sound like all this has just been a warm-up. My apologies. I did not mean to discount your great efforts, my lord. I was simply speaking of the grander scheme. Yeah, I got that. You want to set on a direction for how to grow the city, right? Indeed. The status quo is vastly inadequate for bringing prosperity to this land, and there is no saying when the surrounding territories may cease being so friendly and set their eyes upon conquering us. But of course, you cannot keep your eyes trained outward in fear of attack and allow the land to devour itself from the inside either. So what you're saying is, it's a balancing act. Precisely. So, what kind of advancements do I want to pursue? There is something that's been on my mind. This land is ill-suited to growing crops. When I lived down in the slums, I had no perspective and figured that what we produce here was no different than anywhere else. But now I know better. The grapes used for our wine are miserable compared to what I've been served elsewhere, as it is nearly everything else we grow. I can only assume the land itself is to blame. Oh ho ho! The wine from the south is indeed exceptional. You quite nearly gave me a heart attack when you leapt from your chair in the middle of the meeting, shouting, "This is nothing like the wine from home!" Enough! That's never happened. It was my first time tasting anything like it, alright? Anyone would have had the same reaction. Ho ho! You have grown much, but nevertheless, you are still quite green. God, I really need to watch myself around this man. In any case, excuse me guys, it would be ideal if you could begin producing higher quality grapes, not necessarily to compete with the South, but enough to be serviceable. Efforts to improve our farmland are underway, although it could take some time before we see the progress. Have you any propositions, my lord? Actually, I was thinking it might be best to cut back on agriculture. Do elaborate. What if we were to build the city up into a trade hub of sorts? Meaning you wish to open our gates to our neighbors. Exactly. One thing this city has going for it is its wealth of artisans, but for years we've only ever exported our goods. I want to bring people here to purchase. We reduce taxes for merchants and give them special privileges. Set tariffs and border taxes lower than they are in the capital, and business will naturally find its way here. This land may be less than optimal for farming, but it's more than adequate for trade. We're in a convenient location to serve as a hub for the surrounding realms. Rather than close our borders and wall ourselves off entirely, opening up and making ourselves of value to our neighbors is far more likely to dissuade potential invasion. We're all pieces on one another's boards, isn't that right? Who says that can't apply to the entire city? The best way to expand without stepping on anyone's toes is to do so in a way that benefits them as well as us. What do you think? A rather aggressive strategy you propose, my lord. If I may be so bold, there will be many obstacles to this plan's success. You will need to arrange meetings with the head of each realm you intend to invite, the order and timing of which will be crucial to its success. Furthermore, the influx of outsiders will be a source of much tension among your people. So you think I'm aiming too high? You are indeed aiming exceedingly high. Your obstacles will be numerous and precipitous. Nonetheless, obstacles can be overcome. Your exhaustion is nothing compared to the weariness that awaits you down this path. Do be well aware of this, my lord. You're damn right I am. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go all in. I wonder what it would have been like if Gratian ended up taking the throne instead. Like, I don't think he would have let much affect him, though. Then again, I don't know if he would have been a good lord either. The Lord's Manor sat atop a tall hill, gazing out the city stretched before me. Countless columns of smoke rising from the buildings, the people scurrying about like so many ants. From up here, I had the perfect view of the bustle of the city, but I was too far away to feel the life breathing through it. To think I used to be one of those tiny little specks. Dozens of people lived there. They had families, jobs, friends, hobbies. But as much as I was cognizant of that fact, I no longer grasped it on anything more than a conceptual level. It was incredible just how much my view of the world had changed in merely a year's time. I'm gonna go all out into the world, I said. I thought that clawing my way to the top of the ladder would let me see it, would let me experience it. That with power, I could have the whole world at my fingertips. But reality wasn't so simple. This sure isn't what I was looking for. Hell, I feel like the chains just gotten tighter around my neck. There's no way to truly grasp the view from the height without climbing up and seeing it for yourself. And that was exactly where I was a year ago, blind to the reality of life in the upper echelons, fantasizing about a world that didn't exist. Unlike the me of the past, I did have the satisfaction of feeling like I was accomplishing big things. But was that really worth cutting myself off from all my friends? Did those achievements really justify a bloody revolution? Or, I suppose I should ask, was this work valuable enough to me to justify it all? Reminiscing about days long gone wasn't going to help anything, and, in fact, it only served to cause me pain. I couldn't return to that time. This was where my quest for power had brought me, and now I had to live out my days as a lord of this land, telling myself day after day that it was far better than being a powerless slum rat. God, I've been so busy these past few weeks. My eyes are... One day, I'll show you the world. Do you ever get tired of saying that? You gotta think big. Dream. The world's changing all around us. A life just fighting to make it day to day is hardly a life at all. I don't want to spend the rest of my days confined to this tiny little corner of the world. I'll try not to let your dreams grow so big they crush you. I'm sure I'll be fine. I'll just have you sing for me if it ever gets to be overwhelming. Why would I be there? Why wouldn't you? It's hard to show you the world if I don't bring you with me. Knowing you, you still won't know where you want to go. So I'll bring you with me. We can find a place for you together. Pretty good deal, huh? I don't need to see the world. All I want is... Dozed off for a second there. It feels like those days were an eternity ago. I don't need to see the world. All you want is what? Morgana. What were you trying to tell me? Man, it feels like a whole different place here now. You think? Looks like the same old nasty dump it's always been. He's talking about the whole city, adult. Exactly, things are on top and the up in the city proper, but we ain't seeing a scrap of it down here. The heck's up with that? All the new shops spilling out past the city border, the highway into town's turned into a full-blown bazaar. Ooh, that sounds nice. Is there anything that in that damn head of yours? We're saying how come we're still living like rats if they got enough spare coin to build all that market space. Hell, with all these damn immigrants coming in, the slums are even bigger than before. You know, I never thought much of it till now, but you're right. The gang's been a lot busier lately with all the drifters. And Jacopo, Lord Barnier, ain't showed his mug down here even once since he took over. I mean, I get the bloody lord can't spend all day hanging out in the slums, but he could at least visit. Instead, he's spending all the time buddying up with the rich folks. And we used to be such good friends, too. Wonder if he's planning to just not bother with us at all. I hope not, but that's sure what it's looking like. You'd think he'd at least throw us a bone rather than letting the merchants and upper class take coin bats in his coffers. Guess when he became one of them, he became just like him too. Feels like we're in the exact same place we were a year ago. He's no different than the old Barnier. Psst, psst. God. Oh, it's you. So you find anything? Yep, got the proof we was looking for. But if you'd be so kind as to near give me a job like this again, I'd be hanged thrice over if the nobles found out I was sniffing around in their business. And I'll quit being such a pain. You didn't steal nothing or kill anyone, you're fine. A man's secrets can sometimes be worth more in his life. But on the business, your suspicions were correct. Well, screw me sideways. Here's your pay. Take it and piss off. Nice doing business. Hey, hold up now. I risked my neck to get that for you, and this is all I get in return? Got a problem with that, you little... you little punk? No, sir. Don't you worry. You'll get your fair due shortly. These construction costs are really starting to pile up. Can't we put the manor repairs off until we've taken care of more pressing matters? Like using that money to help the poor? The Lord and his residents are the face of his land. If you wish for the city to continue thriving upon the fruits of your relationships with the surrounding realms, you must maintain a minimum level of respectability, my lord. Merchants in particular are merciless judges of appearance. Of this you can be certain. No respectable merchant will do business on equal terms with a city whose lord refuses to take care of his own home. I get that, but still, it's so much money. These are necessary expenses. To acquire the resources required to aid the lower class, we must increase the rate of production. Efforts must begin at the top of and gradually work down. You must not be in such a great rush, my lord. The work you are performing is on a much larger, longer scale than perhaps that of which you are unaccustomed. You have a point. Then let the construction continue. I'm definitely coming to see just how crucial a bit of embellishment can be to surviving in high society. Every engagement is like throwing myself into a lion's den. Everyone's surrounding me, measuring me up. They question my pedigree, some with their eyes, some with their mouths. Some even attempt to dig up dirt on me in order to tilt the scales in their favor. Oh yeah, and there was that one time when I straight up shouted at, right to my face. You're no more damn noble than any of those other rats whose nest you crawled out of, if I recall. Not that he was wrong. I took the throne by force. It's only natural that people are going to have their suspicions. That I came from the slums is just the icing on the cake. I'm damn lucky if condescension is the worst treatment I get on the first encounter. And then there are the distant relatives Barnier let slip through the cracks, slithering back to assert their right to the land. There are a lot more people out to get me than I first anticipated. Do remain strong, my lord. I will always be strong. If I so much as let these wolves smell weakness, they'll pounce all over me. Like hell I'm gonna let that happen. I won't have time to work on helping the poor if I have to spend my days fending off packs of bloodthirsty nobles. I must always appear strong under any circumstances. I, of all people, should know just how easily a lord can beat the throne. And I'll be next if I leave even the slightest opening. That's a terrible image to always remember. I have to do whatever it takes to make sure that's not my future. Perhaps you should get some rest, my lord. Excuse me, are you insane? I have to review the construction budget so that... Allow me to handle that. I will get you something to drink. Perhaps a glass of that southern wine you are so fond of. It is quite sweet, perfect for alleviating built-up fatigue. I am not fatigued. Come now, please, take this request from an overly concerned consul, my lord. Fine. You win. It's hard to believe it's only been a year and a half. I feel like we go way back. Oh, we do see each other every day. We see each other, every day after all. I thought it said every other day. I'm starting to crave some variety, to be honest. I never found a good opportunity to ask you this, but... Yes? Do you have any family? Because if you do, you're more than welcome to have them live here. I appreciate your concern, my lord, but they have all passed away. All of them? Indeed. My entire family was eradicated at the previous lord's order. Once, and only once, I offered him my humble opinion. So infuriated was he by my insolence that he had my family murdered. I would have much preferred myself killed in their stead. But he was a man who reveled in others' suffering. And you just kept on serving him. That is correct. I acted as his loyal servant, too afraid to speak up again. Acted? Recall what I said when we first met. I was sitting in the way for the perfect opportunity. Now you understand why. Well, damn. And if I may come clean about that time, I had every intention of disposing of the revolution's puppet master. Never once did I trust Ginevra. Her foolish motives were plain as day. As the new lord's mother, she planned to control her planted usurper from the shadows, acting as the effective governor of the land. Having no family left, myself, this city and its people are like my children. So I refused to stand by and allow her to turn them into tools to satisfy her own avarice. The land would hardly survive a tyrant sweeping in to replace a tyrant. But she was removed from the board by the former lord before she had a chance to see her aspirations to fruition. Knowing she was no longer a danger, I decided I would wait and see how the successor fared before taking any further action, to determine if he were sufficient to serve as a lord of this land. And I guess I passed, huh? Are you not upset, my lord? Nothing to be upset about. You never hid the fact that you acted in your own interest, that if a piece had no value to you, you discarded it. And I always knew there was more than what you were telling me. I'll just say, I'm relieved to still be standing here. Oh, if only you knew how close you were to falling on the other side of that line. Am I really that on edge, after all the work I put into this? While you do have a rare aptitude and strength of spirit, you are still much too easily swayed by your emotions. Ergo, I shall continue to instruct you until you are able to fully satisfy my expectations. It is rather curious, so often we speak, so great our time together. I've come to think of you as my second son. Don't get all mushy on me, old man. We're not friends and we're not family. I'm a pawn on your board and you're a pawn on mine. Strictly business. Oh, my apologies. I never said a word. Right. Never happened. Moving right along. You just keep on doing what you do best. At your service, my lord. Out of curiosity, do we have any free hands around capable of riding a horse? For what purpose? There's someone I want found. Whoever it may be you wish to find, my lord, I am obliged to remind you that you don't even have to finish that. I know. I'm supposed to leave the past in the past. Let us see then. You have men in their hands rather full at the present, though we can perhaps arrange for one of them to be reassigned. Are you sure? It's a small request, and not once in your entire tenure have you requested to use your men for personal matters. I believe we can spare a hand or two on such rare occasions. Much appreciated. Shall I arrange for them to set off immediately? Please. I'm looking for a girl. If she's alive, she'll look around 13 or 14. And she has unusual markings on her face. Markings akin to burn scars? Barnier once imprisoned her in this manner. He used her as a prop for his banquets, cutting her up from head to toe. My guess is that the patches on her face are a result of Barnier's abuse. Indeed, I know the girl. I presume she had not survived the slave revolt. I take it you care quite deeply about this girl, my lord. Then allow me to offer my sincerest apologies in his stead. No need to apologize. Will you help me find her, Alalan? I will oversee the search operation personally to the best of my ability, my lord. I pray the girl is still alive. As do I, unlikely as it may be. I'm just chasing after a sliver of a dream that shattered long ago. That said, if you do find her alive, bring her here without telling her it's the Lord's order. She'll likely assume it's the old Barnier who's after her if you say anything. And if she happens to have found a new home where she's happy, just leave her be. Understood. Time drifted slowly onward, and as I anticipated, there was no news regarding her whereabouts. But new shops and stalls continued opening in the city, with them coming a steady flow of travelers and passing merchants. And as traffic through the city increased, so too did the number of people seeking an audience with me. I was getting busier by the day. My plans to attract merchants and artisans from the capital had worked, and every one of them seemed to have a bigger, more ambitious proposition than the last. My days became a cycle of meetings, reviewing propositions, balancing the budget, and deciding whether to proceed or postpone. And amidst all the turmoil, my thoughts drifted ever further from the poorest of my people. And that's the last of the day's meetings. There's no end in sight to this. That is a good thing, my lord. It means you have succeeded in drawing traffic to the city. I guess, but still. I need to go back and review all these proposals, so... Lord Barnier, a moment. I don't have a moment to spare. A townsperson requests an audience with the lord. You have been instructed to deny entry to commoners. I tried, but he refuses to leave the gate. Hold on, what's this man's name? Sir, he calls himself Gratian. Oh, crap. Is it really him? Let him in by all means. My lord, you mustn't give anyone special treatment. Gratian is not just anyone. We've been to hell and back together. He wouldn't be here if it wasn't important. I should hear what he has to say. No, my lord, you cannot. Your past is. He's a good friend. I'm not sending him away. That's not even on the table. Friend or not, you mustn't give him an audience. You are the lord now, and he a mere peasant. You cannot be certain he would hold himself with a proper decorum. I don't appreciate what you're implying about my friend, old man. Oh, and yeah, he will not hold himself to higher decorum, because that's not his style. He's no goddamn brute. I imply nothing, my lord. Keep your counsel to topics you actually know something about. I'm not going to stand by and listen to anyone insult my friends, not even you. My lord, must I remind you yet again to keep your temper in check? Gah, that's enough out of you. I'm done. Now another word on this subject. My lord. Guard, open the gate. Yes, sir. I feel bad because I get it. I really do. Like, on one hand, he has to maintain proper decorum. He can't let people in. Like, he can't let people he's not allowed to let into his was it mansion? Castle? Mansion. We'll just call it mansion. And yeah, but at the end of the day, that they did this together. They revolted against the old lord together, against Barnier, and you can't really deny that. You can't turn that away, even though proper etiquette tells you otherwise. So I get where he's coming from. It sucks, but let's see where this goes. Sup, Jacopo? It's been ages. Feels like forever. How have you been doing? Never been better. How about you, kid? Show proper respect to your lord, peasant. You are to refer to him as Lord Barnier, not any false names he may have responded to while in hiding. Seriously? You ain't gonna let him kick back even for a buddy? Enough, Odilon. He can call me by my own name. But my lord, I said I've heard enough from you. Well, look at you, taking charge and barking orders, all important like. You're like a whole new man, my lord. Please, you can use my name. I'm dead serious, though. Hard to believe it ain't even been 2 years. You seriously look like a whole new man. You think so? I don't feel like I've changed all that much myself. I don't know. You just... what's the word? Emanate lordliness now. Guess it don't take long in the noble's den to turn into one of them, no matter how far down the chain you come from. Look at this room. Look at all these fancy freaking furnishings. Not all this old Barnier stuff, is it? Nope. With all the meetings I've been having, I need to make sure I had a room that was nice and presentable. Well, that's one way to put it. Hey, don't think I'm just throwing around money for the fun of it. If I want to pull in a negotiation, I need to look like I have. No need to explain yourself, kid. I totally get it. It ain't easy dealing with a bunch of rich folks which sticks up their asses. I appreciate it. Anyway, what brings you here today? Well, bud, do I need a reason to visit a friend? Can a guy just want to hang out and catch up? Come on. I never said that. I'm just extremely busy at the moment. I don't have much time to spare for anyone. Come on, don't be such a tight ass. That's exactly why I'm here. To make sure you don't go get that stick up there so deep it punctures your brain. You gotta let loose sometimes. I suppose. Thank you for your concern. So let's get sloshed, just like the old days. I even brought the booze. I wish I could, but I don't have the time. You drink with merchants and rich snobs, but not me? That stings, kid. Right to the gut. I see you're as pushy as ever. Alright, fine. One drink, in the back room. That's what I'm talking about. My lord. It'll be fine, Odolan. We go back years. There's nothing wrong with a couple of friends sharing drinks after hours. Unless he freaking drugged the drink. I hate thinking like that too. I really do. If you insist, my lord, but the peasant must leave his blade behind. I will not under any circumstances allow you to be alone with an armed slum dweller. Yeesh. Everyone here needs to loosen up, huh? You seriously think I'm gonna pull a sword on my old pal? Humor me. Whatever, fine. You win, old timer. Happy now? Yes. Sorry about that, Grecian. Odon's always on edge. It's nothing personal. Nah, it's cool. Can't say I blame him. Let's go get trashed. I brought a little something from that pub we used to haunt. Bet you usually drink way better than this now that you're the freaking lord. But it'll be like old times, you know? This reminds me of the time we had that drinking contest. Want to go another round? I'll have to refrain, unfortunately. Ortolan would murder me if I did that. Sounds like the geezers got you by the balls, huh? No fun allowed up here in the Lord's house. It can be rather suffocating, yeah. Well, you can at least let loose today. To old times, kid. To old times. Now this is a sight I never dreamed of. The two of us here in the Lord's Manor drinking together. We were both slaves when we met, for God's sakes. No freaking joke. You never know what life will bring you. Been almost 5 years since then. You weren't even 20 yet. I expect we've both grown quite a bit since those days. Or are you still running around like a wild boar even now? Hard to say. I don't think I'm as bad as I used to be, but getting into that blank kinda comes with the territory, you know? I'm trying not to curse or like say the big bad words, you know? And the slums are still the same as ever. I see. So how's everyone doing down here? We're scribbling by as usual. The rest of the gang? And Maria? The guys are still lazing around at the pub all day. Maria's rebuilt the brothel, and she's getting by as best she can. Obviously not in the same place, and it's smaller than the old one. But for a chick, she's doing alright for herself. I'm glad to hear it. So tell me, kid, you and her totally had a thing, yeah? Where on earth did that come from? I believe I already told you, no, we didn't. Just seems like she's about 10 times more worried about you than anyone else. There must have been something. Don't make sense otherwise. Maybe she just had a thing for you and you never saw it. Poor girl. There were no romantic feelings on either side. We were friends. Simple as that. Nothing more, nothing less. Have you seen those honkers? What does that have to do with anything? It just don't make sense to me. How can a guy only be friends with a chick? It just means we value certain things in life differently. You know, like to do that sometimes. Get all weirdly noble like that. Hey, I didn't mean that as a jab. It has nothing to do with being noble. Maria's special. We've known each other most of our lives, and we survived hell together. Oh yeah, you mentioned that before, didn't you? That the two of you known each other longer than anyone else? What was it like back then for the two of you? Before I met her, Maria was raised in an orphanage. She said she ran off because she and the director didn't get along. Can't say I'm surprised. How about you? I hardly remember anything from before I came to the city. Just bits and pieces of what my mother told me. Being guarded by a bunch of men, being kidnapped by bandits. You mean that noble woman? You're a shame you had to lose her so soon after reuniting, huh? Indeed it is. Don't you think it's about time you cut the crap? Excuse me? You're not a Barnier. You didn't inherit the throne. You're just a damn fraud. Ain't that right, Jacopo? What are you talking? Finally starting to kick in, it looks like. God, you got any idea how hard it was not to throttle you through that entire conversation? What? I was right. I knew it. He drugged the drink. Almost out of nowhere, my heart rate skyrocketed and my legs started trembling so violently I had to lean against the wall to support myself. The whole world started swirling, and I could just barely make out my old friend glaring at me through the fog. How you like that? Feels like your heart's about to burst, don't it? Don't you worry, kid. You won't be feeling nothing soon. You poisoned the drinks? Why would you? Why? You seriously need to spell... You seriously need me to spell it out for you? Ha! You've been stuffing your head with freaking rainbows up here. You want to know what they call you down in the slums, Jacopo? The betrayer. What? I didn't... betray. You take one goddamn look at the city and tell me that again. While you're up there treating anyone with a cart and some trinkets to sell like freaking royalty, the slums is still the same rat's nest you left it. Now, we're even worse off now with your new marketplace. Anyone can turn a little old money into a big old pile of gold. But if you got nothing to begin with, you're just a dead in the streets. All you're doing is making the rich even richer. No, I'm trying. I wanted to explain how I had everything planned out. How I first need to improve the economy as a whole before I could turn my attention to the less well off. That nothing changing was proof I was protecting them. That the slums had been in danger of being eradicated entirely, and I had stopped it. But I could see in his eyes that nothing I said would convince him. As far as he was concerned, I was pure evil. Alright guys, I'm going to have to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. We're finally seeing his first betrayal, and his console was correct in saying so. In fact, it was funny because I was just talking about how I had a feeling he drugged that drink. If only because we knew he hired a spy to like see how Jacopo was doing, if he betrayed them or not. So from their point of view, he obviously did, and it's so upsetting. Alright guys, we're going to continue on in the next one. So thank you all for watching.